Eternal Thirst.
Part 9. The leader of the hunters lowered his bow. The last echo of the silver arrow was still in the air, ringing in everyone's chest like a bell of judgment. Karim stood tall, breathing heavily, his eyes fixed on the shadow that was Shine. "She is gone," he whispered to himself, though his voice trembled. "The curse is broken." The villagers behind him began to cheer. Some dropped their weapons and hugged each other. Others fell to their knees, thanking God for saving them from the night. But the one who celebrated most was the old man, Longbottom. His wrinkled face was marked with scars from battles of the past, each line telling a story of war against darkness. He raised his cane like a general raising a sword. "Do you see?" he shouted to the people. "I told you, silver never fails. I fought the witches of the northern forests. I burned their covens. I saw the wolves turn to ash under silver teeth. And tonight, we have destroyed the last of these monsters." The villagers listened in silence. For them, Longbottom was more than a man. He was living proof that humans could stand against the unnatural. He had prepared this night for months. He ordered the men to melt silver from coins, rings, and old family treasures. He forced the blacksmith to forge arrowheads, knives, and even spear tips from that precious metal. Women and children spent nights sewing white banners so that hunters could find each other in the dark. Even the church bell was melted down to add more silver to the weapons. Every step, every plan, every whispered prayer had led to this. The fire of the pyres burned high. The hunters piled bodies of the fallen vampires into the flames. The smell of burning flesh mixed with the sweetness of blood, and the night was filled with screams that still echoed in their ears. The villagers drank, sang, and celebrated until their voices grew hoarse. For them, the nightmare was over, but nightmares never end so easily. Hours passed. The fire grew weaker. The ashes of the vampires turned black, then gray, then silent. The people of the village began to leave. They returned to their homes, clutching their children, whispering promises that the dark days were finished. Only the old man Longbottom stayed near the ruins. He leaned on his cane and watched the ashes dance in the cold wind. "Silver always wins," he muttered again, his voice proud, but deep inside, something bothered him. And then it happened. A soft sound. At first, it was like the crack of ice on a frozen lake. Then the ashes began to move. Longbottom froze. His breath caught in his throat. "No," he whispered. "This is not possible." The ashes shifted again. Fingers of black smoke rose into the air, twisting like snakes. From the earth, one by one, the vampires began to rise. Their wounds closed before his eyes. Their eyes glowed red, brighter than fire, hungrier than death. And at the center of it all, Shine. Her chest rose. Her hands pushed the dirt aside. Her eyes opened, glowing like two burning suns. The silver arrow had not killed her. It had only made her stronger. The vampires gasped for air, as if life itself had returned to them. They looked around with confusion and terror. The hunters were gone, but the night was still heavy with danger. "Run," Shine whispered, her voice soft but filled with command. "Save yourselves." And they ran. The village awoke to chaos. Doors slammed. Torches were lit. Screams of fear spread as shadows darted through the streets. Vampires leaped from rooftops, dashed through alleys, and scattered into the dark forests. Some transformed into bats, their wings cutting through the night air like knives. Others disappeared into rivers, their bodies moving faster than the current. The youngest ones crawled on all fours, faster than wolves, their claws scratching the stone streets. The villagers shot arrows and threw spears, but the vampires were too fast, too desperate to survive. Children cried as their parents dragged them inside. Old women crossed themselves, whispering prayers, afraid that the curse would return even stronger. And still, Shine stood at the edge of the forest, watching her people escape. She did not run. She only whispered to herself, "I will not let them die again. Not like this." From that night, the vampires spread across the world. They crossed the Carpathian Mountains, their shadows hiding among the fog. They traveled down through the rivers of Pannonia, slipping between fishermen's boats, unseen under the moon. They followed the trade routes to Anatria, Gaul, Iberia, moving like whispers through cities, leaving only rumors and fear behind. Some found homes in the deserts of Arabia, hiding under ruins, drinking the blood of wandering caravans. Others crossed into Ethiopia, blending into tribes and villages, their hunger masked by rituals and shadows. From the cold mountains of Kievan Rus to the warm shores of the Mediterranean, they spread. Like seeds carried by the wind, they grew roots in every land, in every nation. And behind every new vampire, every strange disappearance, there was always one shadow watching. Shine. She carried the guilt of her people with her. Every village they left in ruin, every river stained with blood, every child who grew up hearing the stories of monsters in the night. All of it pressed on her heart. But she was not free. In the village, Karim and Longbottom stood before their people. They did not celebrate anymore. Their victory had been a lie. They saw with their own eyes how the dead had risen, how the curse had not been destroyed but had multiplied. Karim clenched his fists. His voice was filled with rage. This is not the end. This is only the beginning. If they spread, the whole world will fall into darkness. We cannot stop now. Longbottom raised his cane and shouted, "Hear me! The curse walks free again. Shine still lives. Her kind will drink the blood of your children, unless we finish what we started. This is no longer just our village's fight. This is war." And the crowd answered with one voice, "War!" Far away, Shine stood on the cliffs of the Black Sea. The wind tore at her hair. The moonlight painted her skin pale as snow. She looked at the horizon, where ships carried traders, soldiers, and travelers. Her eyes filled with sorrow. "Maybe Karim is right," she whispered. "Maybe I will never change. Maybe I will always bring only pain." But deep inside, another voice spoke. A darker voice. It whispered of revenge, of fire, of blood. And Shine felt the hunger grow again. The war between humans and vampires had only just begun.